Inflation is way worse than they're telling us. Hi, this is Douglas Lucky Larson on the Retire Early and Often channel. On this channel, we always talk about different aspects of the economy and how you can survive and hopefully thrive in this situation, and how you can help other people at the same time. Retire early and often simply means to incorporate many of the early retirement lifestyle things into your life right now. Even if you can't just quit your day job and go do whatever you want, you can incorporate many things into your life. Now, it's really important to stay ahead of the curve, and right now we're all being thrown a pretty big curveball with this inflation thing. On the next slide, we're going to take a look at all these numbers. This is a recent consumer price index graph here, and we're going to see that what they're telling us is not exactly correct. Things are much worse than this, and we need to stay on top of this. Inflation stays red hot, and as you can see up here, that's my best drawing efforts at making fire. Inflation stays red hot. Rising costs are squeezing Americans' consumers and wiping out pay raises that many people have received. Yes, labor is going up, but not at the same pace as many of these things that we're paying for. Let's take a look here, starting at the top. Gasoline. Unleaded regular. I also have to pay for diesel in a couple of my cars, and it's even worse. But unleaded regular gasoline, they're saying 48.8%, we'll call it 50% higher than a year ago. This is March 2021 versus March 2022. Now, if you remember the good old days, like a year and a half ago, you can actually remember when gas was half the price that it is right now, less than half the price. So if you go back 18 months, this number here is actually 100% increased. Ouch. Yeah. Used cars and trucks. I did buy a car, let's see, in about February 2021. And basically, all the sales were just simply few and far between. It was much harder to get a vehicle, but I had to trade in a leased truck and get a new leased truck. I was able to find a pretty decent deal on a Dodge Ram that I need for work and getting around, and I was able to find something, but I gotta say, it was much harder to find a decent deal. Not a great deal, but this, yeah, that's probably pretty accurate. Hotels. We're seeing a tick up in those, that's for sure. It doesn't have rental cars on here, but man, last year and even this year, rental cars in some of the fun places to go, yikes. Airline fares, yeah, they're going up, and let's be honest, labor is up. It's hard to get people to come into work, and when you do, you have to pay them more. Benefits are more, taxes are more, everything costs more, fuel is more, jet fuel, way more. So, yep, they got to pass that along. I do not begrudge them. Don't like paying prices that are higher, but it's just the way it is right now. I'm not going to get political. I do wish that certain of the powers that be would open up certain pipelines that could get us cheaper and easier to get oil, maybe from Canada, but, allow for a little more drilling here in this country. I think it would be wonderful if eventually we can go to all green fuels, maybe some nuclear, a little more hydro. I believe in all of those things. But right now, we are not ready for that, not even close. And if you've studied at all how we have to get some of the materials that make up our solar panels, what we have to do to get, cobalt and lithium and other things that make up some of the batteries to store the power from solar or wind or other things. It's an ugly process and it's a dirty process. So we do need to be very careful in how quickly we shift. It's going to be really hard on many countries that don't have what we have. Furniture and bedding. I don't know. I haven't been buying much of that, so I can't tell you about that, and I haven't done much studying on that. Pork. I don't know why they chose pork over anything else. I know that beef and pork certainly are higher. I do not think that it is a conspiracy among pork producers. Big pork, like big oil or something, and they're all just raking in the profits and gouging I don't think that's happening. Again, they're paying more in labor. They're paying more to keep the lights on. They're paying more in energy. And factories that produce and truck things across the country, you know what? It all costs more. So 15, yeah, I'd say I would have expected that just in the last year we would have seen more like 20%. Major appliances, it's saying 12.4%. Well, I can tell you that that is low. I have several rental properties, and I have to replace appliances. And I also buy homes that have to be renovated, and sometimes I need all four appliances. It used to be that, very often you could walk into a Home Depot or a Lowe's or a Best Buy or something like that and get a whole suite of appliances. Now, if you can find them in stock, there's just no sales. It's not like buy these four things and get 30% off, or buy these three things and you get the micro hood for free. Just it's not happening. I'm just telling you. Mostly what I'm seeing is easily 20, 25, maybe 30% higher prices if you can find what you want. So I think this is definitely low. Cereal and bakery products. I haven't noticed bread going up too much, maybe a little bit, but I have noticed that with some of our favorite cereals, it does seem like we're paying a little bit more. I'm going to get this off here so we can see. 9.4%. Yeah, I would say on some of the items that I'm noticing, it seems a little more like 15 to 20%. And again, in my mind, it may be from, say, a year and a half ago. And this is year over year. So if it went up 10% from the beginning of COVID until March of 2021, and then another 10% until now, here we are, May of 2022, yeah, it could easily be 20%. Let's see, veterinary services. Well, my family does not have animals that require veterinary services. I have heard people complaining, but our little hamsters that my family has, my little kids have, we don't take them to the vet. Sorry. Yeah. Thankfully, the one little hamster we've got right now, man, he runs his little guts out on his little treadmill. He is staying healthy, and we're trying to keep him that way. No vet bills for us. Let's see. CPI. Well, they throw this in here just because that's how this little bar meets with this really nice curve right here, 8.5%. That's the overall consumer price index. And I have to say, most everybody that I talk to, if you follow people on FinTwit and other YouTube channels, most people will tell you that's just a little bit low. And, not all of these things that you're seeing in here are balanced equally. Some things have a higher weighting in their big list of things. One of those things is housing. And as we come down here on rent, we're going to do that one in just a second, we're going to see that that number is way off. And let's just say, for instance, that, you've got people at the lower end of the totem pole, and, let's say that those people are buying a lot of the stuff they need, the toilet paper and, even food from the dollar store. Well, guess what? Dollar Tree just raised their prices from $1 to $1.25. That's 25%. If I'm doing the math right, hello. A lot more than 8.5 if a lot of your things are in these categories we've already discussed. Just between fuel and some food items here, 8.5 seems a little low. Now let's talk about restaurants. And, if you are a total food snob, I gotta say, I don't know. Because guess what? I'm not a food snob. I like my Panda. I like my Chipotle. I like, a Cafe Rio. I like some of the, the gourmet burger joints, or even an In-N-Out. I'm not really a McDonald's guy, even though I have a son that actually works at McDonald's. But when I go to, the Panda Expresses and, my favorite little taco shops, I got to say, I'm noticing more like 15, 20% increase on the things that I really like to eat. The combos that used to be $5.99 for, the drink included. Now those things, they're not just, $7.99, they're $8.99 or $9.99. It just seems like you're getting hit at the restaurants much more than 6.9% year over year. Rent. So here's something I know a lot about. Now, I have rentals in the state of Utah and California and also in Idaho. And I gotta say, rents are up way more than 5.1%. Many of you know, if you follow other people, that the way that the CPI calculates rent is owner's equivalent rent. and they talked to homeowners and asked them what would their home rent for if it were to be rented, and how does that compare to last year? Well, guess what? Many homeowners don't know. If they're not landlords, they don't know. Here's the other thing. They haven't asked me. I don't know who they're talking to, but in 20 something years of being a homeowner and a landlord, no one has ever asked me. So I don't know who their polling group is, but it's nobody that I know. 5.1, yeah, I'm sorry, it's just not the way it is. My taxes, my insurance, my labor, my appliances, everything's going up. Let me give you a couple just quick examples. Just last week, I had to replace a water heater, and between the labor and the cost of the water heater, instead of being $950 like it was a year and a half, 2 years ago when I had the last one replaced, this one in a particular property cost me $14.50, and that's after shopping around. That was the best rate that I got. Some of the other bids were $15.95 and $1,800 for a water heater replacement. This was not an emergency. We weren't having like flooded basement or anything. This isn't like you got to come in on a holiday weekend, okay? You'll probably pay double that. This was like, hey, can I get on your schedule? We've got a little problem with one that's going out. We've had problems in the past and it was fixed, but just fit us on your schedule in the coming week and let's see what we can do. I'm telling you, $14.50, best I could do. Ouch. When landlords like me are having our costs increased by 50% on some of those things, I'm sorry, but we just have to pass it along. Insurance, taxes, bookkeeping services, all those things are going up, and we have to pass it along. Now, in some areas of the country, I know for a fact they're seeing 30-40% increases year over year, maybe 50% increase in the space of 2 years. We did not increase rents at all during 2020. All of our tenants paid. Not everybody paid on time. We had a couple people that were a little bit late in early and mid 2020, but we have good communication and we were able to work things out. We're all in this together, we told them, and we need your help, and you need housing, and so let's work this out. So we gave everybody just the zero rate increases in 2020, but in 2021 we raised about 10 to 15% across the board as leases came due, and once again this year another 15% is about what we've done. So 5%, that's either a known lie or they're just a little behind the curve here. Last one on the list, wine at home. I have no idea. I don't drink, so you can let me know in the comments below how accurate that one is. Next slide. Most important question here is, what can you do about it? I always like to leave my viewers with some actionable advice. So, number one, stock up. Stock up on things that you can. It doesn't mean be a crazy hoarder nut job, right? You don't have to dig a bunker in your backyard and bury a shipping container full of tuna fish. Every time you go to the store, buy a couple extra cans of chili, or if your kids like, your mini raviolis, buy a few extra of those. My kids like those. They could probably survive on mini raviolis and top ramen for the rest of their lives. Not healthy, but do what you can. Get some canned vegetables as well, and whatever makes you feel comfortable. If you've got a little bit of extra space underneath your stairs, or you got a basement or something, you know what? An extra 3 weeks of food, an extra 6 months of food, whatever works for you to feel a little bit more comfortable and to hedge yourself against inflation, because we've been warned prices will continue to go up. Another important thing is that there are many inputs all along the way for food products, whether it's the fuel or the labor that has to go into that, or the fertilizers to even grow the food in the first place. All those things are going up in price, and what you're seeing right now in those inputs won't be felt until late summer or fall. I'm not panicking. I'm not thinking that the United States is going to be experiencing famine. The sad thing is that the United States has a lot of purchasing power in the world, and so if some of the problems that we're seeing over in Eastern Europe right now because of Russia and Ukraine, and the wheat harvest is not being planted, and it probably won't be harvested the same. Some of the inputs for fertilizers will not be delivered around the world, and especially in Europe. But we have the ability in the United States to do a little bit of ramping up in production, but also we can buy stuff at a slightly higher price and beat out other places in the world. So there may be real problems in places like Turkey or Egypt as we outbid them for things like wheat. It doesn't seem fair, really, does it? But that's just the way the world works. So we may see a 15 or 20% increase in our prices, but other places may see real famine and starvation. Keep that in mind. Number 2, lock in your housing costs. Now, if you are renting and you got, a 6-month lease, maybe ask your landlord, hey, we like the place. Is it possible to lock in something that's more like 12 months or 18 months or maybe 2 years from now? And very often landlords are like, you know what the heck? Sure, we like you guys. You're working out. Maybe we can sign a longer lease. See what you can do to lock in your housing. If there is a way for you to buy something, and we'll talk about this just a little more on the next page, it may be still a great time to buy something. I know that 30-year fixed interest rates are going up. I'm feeling it too. I just got a refi, and I was upset because I had to pay 5.375 on a couple of cash out refis on some properties that I have. But as interest rates continue to go up, other products will come available. There will be some great ARM products, and we're already seeing an increase in adjustable rate mortgage products that are out there. We're seeing an increase in 40-year mortgages. Isn't that crazy? It seems crazy. But as other creative products come out, there may be some great opportunities for you. If you can lock in a 7-1 ARM, and a 10-year ARM, something like that, ask your mortgage broker. It may make a lot of sense. You can still find some of those, and they might be a 3.5 or a 3.75% interest rate. That is historically low. So see what you can do to lock in your housing. And if you know you're going to stay put in the same place for a long time, it might be the right thing for you. I cannot give you advice, but I'm still looking for deals. I'm still buying deals. I'm still getting loans. Number 3, skills. I tell people all the time, you know what? There's always skills that we need to have. And it might mean going back to school or learning some things online. It might be something as simple as learning some first aid and some triage skills. It might be learning a little bit more about mechanics for your car. I know some people with Teslas, and they are tearing their hair out because they take their car in, and it might be 3 weeks or 4 weeks before they see their car again. Partly because they don't know how to work on it for the most simple things. Partly because there's labor shortages where they take it. There's chip shortages. We know that. Parts are difficult to come by, with certain cars. So maybe learning a little bit more about your car and fixing some of the very small things, it could be huge. There's other skills too, handyman skills around the house, plumbing, electrical, lots of different things that you can learn that will really come in handy. And if we ever get into a really, really bad situation and you can barter some of your skills for somebody else's canned tuna that they've got stored in a bunker in their backyard, trust me, you're going to be glad you learned some things. I know what it's like to say, oh man, I really don't know how to do something, and I've got this tenant that needs something done. Maybe, I can just troubleshoot a furnace over the phone with them if I can, just watch a YouTube video. I've done that, by the way. I've done that. And it comes in handy sometimes. But YouTube may not always be there when you need YouTube. Learn some skills. Try to be a little proactive and, pick up some things. You just never know when it might be really useful. Number 4, relationships. Relationships are crucial. They're crucial in bad times. They're also crucial in good times, and we're still in pretty good times. You know what I mean? Pretty good times. Build those relationships. Family members, extended family, friends, neighbors, church groups. With tenants, I'm constantly trying to improve my relationships with my tenants, because when we do go through bad times, and if the government says, oh, hey, tenants, you don't have to pay your rents, it's nice if you have good relationships with your tenants and you can say, hang on a second, we We're not like, backyard barbecue buddies all the time, but we do have a relationship here, and I can tell you, you don't want an eviction on your record, and we really like you guys. We want to help each other out, so let's work through this together. Relationships, key to everything. All right, next slide. I wanted to talk just a little bit more about real estate. Now, everybody asks me, why can I still feel kind of bullish about real estate and real estate prices in this current environment, this inflationary environment? And let me tell you, one of the reasons why I'm bullish is because of inflation. So I put these two charts on here, and we're going to look at them really closely. So this one on top, consumer price index, this is basically inflation. This line right here is 0, right? And the Fed has told us that they're always targeting this magic 2% inflation, right? Well, here's where it got out of hand, as we know, back in the 70s, right here. Wow, things just skyrocketed. The reason why it's such a jagged line, as you know, is it's year over year. So sometimes, at this point here, it's like, oh, well, look at this, and look at this. It started to come down, but this is compared to last year at that same time. So this point, versus this point. Anyway, that's why we've got such weird jagged lines. But the trend was, wow, it was ugly for quite a while there, from late 60s really, all the way up through the very early 80s. Even here, as it's coming down, this doesn't mean that prices were just immediately low. This is still right here. It looks like, oh, that's a big drop. That's still 5% inflation. That is ugly inflation, right? Anyway, when we come down here on this lower graph, this is, and I tried to line these up pretty well here, years for years. And by the way, these gray bars, up here, down here, here, and here, these were recessions. So just so you know. But as we look really closely in that same time period from 1970 and 1971 is when we went off the gold standard and things really started to go a little bit crazy. But you look at home prices, median sales price of a house. And I would say this is $27,000 for a home, all the way up here into the early 80s. You know what that is? That's $80,000. That's a triple in price right there. So during that same time that we had all this inflation in consumer price index, we had houses go up triple, more than triple. In fact, you can see it continued to go on up all the way to here. Here was one of the first drops that we had that was significant. That was in 91-ish. What is the home price there? 120,000. Yeah, that's about 500% increase in home prices in a couple of decades there, 20 years. So why do I feel bullish on home prices during inflation? Yeah, that's why. Okay. So there are no guarantees, but we can look at history and we can make some judgment calls on what's likely to happen. One thing I can tell you, I'm going to make another video on 4 big inputs to housing prices. And there are 4 big pushes on the toward the upside for housing prices. And we'll go into those on another video, but inflation is one of those. In inflationary times, home prices tend to rise. Let's look at what we've got right here. We've got overall CPI, ugly. House prices, what are they doing? How far can that go as we increase the size of this bubble? I don't know, but I still feel pretty good if I can find cash flowing real estate and very low interest rate mortgages. You will know what's best for you. I hope to see you on the next video, and I hope you'll give us a thumbs up. If you like this content, please share it with others. We want our channel to grow. We want to reach as many people as possible to help people retire early and often, take care of their families, take care of all the craziness that's going on out there. Sure appreciate you guys. Talk to you soon.